Don't think we're dealing with a primitive species. Any Admiral Vex stood in his damaged command center, his forearms clasped behind his back as he stared at the tactical display. The 12 human ships held perfect attack positions around his fleet. Their formation was precise and professional, showing a level of coordination that spoke of excellent training and natural military instinct. But it wasn't just their positioning that worried him. It was what they represented. In less than 3 days, the humans had gone from having no space-based military assets to fielding a fleet that could threaten the entire Zephyrian invasion force. "Sir, damage control reports are coming in from all decks," Commander Wilex said quietly. "The human attack disabled 60% of our primary systems. We're running on emergency power." Vex nodded grimly. The single human pilot had surgically disabled his flagship without killing anyone aboard. It was a demonstration of precision and restraint that spoke volumes about human military philosophy. They could have destroyed his ship and everyone on it, but they chose not to. "Sir, the humans are transmitting again," his communications officer reported. "Put them through." General Williams appeared on the main screen. His expression was calm, but firm as he addressed the alien commander. "Admiral Vex, you've now seen what happens when humans are forced to defend themselves. We've disabled your flagship, destroyed your advanced squadrons, and neutralized your invasion force. But we're not interested in slaughter. We're offering you one final chance to withdraw peacefully." Vex's mandibles clicked as he considered his options. Military doctrine demanded that he fight to the last ship. The Zephyrian Empire had never retreated from a primitive world, but the evidence before him suggested that humanity was far from primitive. "General Williams, the Zephyrian Empire has conquered 47 worlds. We have never been defeated by an inferior species." Williams's expression didn't change. "Admiral, with respect, you're making the same mistake you made when you first arrived. Here, you're still thinking of us as inferior. The evidence suggests otherwise." As if to emphasize Williams' point, sensors detected new activity from the planet's surface. More human ships were launching, each one incorporating design improvements based on lessons learned from the previous vessels. The humans weren't just building ships, they were evolving their technology in real time. Captain Tony Marshall watched from the bridge of his vessel Guardian as the newest human ships joined the formation. Each one was slightly different from the others, representing different approaches to the same basic design philosophy. Human engineers were experimenting with variations, testing different combinations of technologies to see what worked best. "Sir, the new arrivals are reporting full operational status," his tactical officer announced. "Total human fleet strength is now 18 vessels and growing." Marshall nodded with satisfaction. The shipyards hidden beneath Earth's major cities were working around the clock, producing new vessels at a rate that astounded even the humans themselves. Dr. Carter's research teams had streamlined the construction process to the point where they could build a complete hybrid ship in under 12 hours. On the planet's surface, Maya Rodriguez was overseeing the launch of her latest creation. This ship incorporated lessons learned from Morrison's successful attack on the alien flagship. It was faster, more maneuverable, and carried weapons that combined human creativity with alien technology in ways that pushed the boundaries of physics. "Launch. Sequence complete," she reported to General Williams. "The Prometheus is ready for deployment." Williams studied the specifications on his display. The new ship was unlike anything either species had built before. Its engines could propel it at speeds that approached light velocity in normal space. Its weapons could punch through any known armor or shield system. Its stealth capabilities made it virtually undetectable until it chose to reveal itself. "Outstanding work, Maya. How many more like this can we build?" "At current production rates, 1 every 8 hours, and each one will be better than the last as we continue to refine the design." The implications were staggering. Within a week, Earth could have a fleet of advanced starships that rivaled anything in the galaxy. Within a month, human technology might surpass anything the Zephyrians had achieved in thousands of years of development. Admiral Vex was reaching the same conclusion as he watched more human ships appear on his sensors. Each new vessel represented another evolutionary step forward in human military technology. At this rate, his invasion fleet would soon be completely outclassed. "Sir," Commander Wilex said carefully, "our analysts project that the humans will achieve technological superiority within days. If we allow this situation to continue, the Zephyrian Empire itself could be at risk." Vex knew his second-in-command was right. The humans had demonstrated an ability to adapt and improve alien technology at a rate that was simply unprecedented. Given time, they might develop capabilities that could threaten Zephyrian space itself. But there was another consideration. The humans had also demonstrated restraint and mercy. They could have destroyed his flagship and killed everyone aboard, but they chose to disable it instead. They were offering him a chance to withdraw with honor, rather than fighting to the death. "Open a channel to General Williams," Vex commanded. When the human general appeared on screen, Vex straightened to his full height and spoke with the dignity befitting a military commander. "General Williams, I must acknowledge that our initial assessment of human capabilities was flawed. Your species has proven far more resourceful than our intelligence indicated." Williams nodded respectfully. "Admiral, we appreciate your honesty. War is always unfortunate, but it doesn't have to end in unnecessary destruction. What are your terms for our withdrawal?" "Simple. Your fleet withdraws beyond the edge of our solar system and doesn't return. You transmit a message to your empire, making it clear that Earth is defended and that any future hostile action will be met with appropriate force. And you provide us with star charts showing the locations of other intelligent species in this region of the galaxy." Vex's four eyes widened slightly. "You wish to make contact with other species?" "Admiral, we've just learned that we're not alone in the universe. We're naturally curious about our neighbors. The question is whether we meet them as friends or enemies." The implication was clear. Humanity was preparing to venture into space, armed with technology that combined the best of human and alien engineering. They would be a force to be reckoned with among the galactic community. "Your terms are acceptable," Vex replied after a long pause. "The Zephyrian Empire will comply with your conditions." "Excellent, Admiral. I hope this marks the beginning of better relations between our peoples." As the alien fleet began its withdrawal, Captain Marshall received new orders from Earth Command. "Guardian, you are designated as humanity's first interstellar diplomatic vessel. Your mission is to follow the Zephyrian fleet at a safe distance and make contact with other species in the region." Marshall smiled as he considered the implications. 3 days ago, humanity had been alone in the universe, unaware that alien life existed. Now they were about to take their first steps onto the galactic stage, armed with technology that had impressed even their would-be conquerors. Helm, set course to shadow the alien fleet. Communications, prepare a message for transmission. To Earth Command, tell them that the age of human isolation is officially over. Dr. Carter and Maya Rodriguez stood in their laboratory, watching through the main display as human ships followed the retreating alien fleet toward deep space. Around them, their teams continued working on new innovations, each breakthrough building on the last. "Alex, do you realize what we've accomplished?" Rodriguez asked, exhaustion and pride mixing in her voice. "We've not only saved Earth, we've announced humanity's arrival as a major player in galactic affairs," Carter replied. "And we did it by being ourselves, adaptive, creative, and unwilling to give up." On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Vex composed his report to the Zephyrian High Command. It would be a difficult message to send, acknowledging the first failed invasion in the Empire's history, but it would also serve as a warning to other potential aggressors. "Begin transmission," he ordered. "This is Admiral Vex reporting on the Earth operation. The target species has proven far more capable than initial assessments indicated. They possess rapid technological adaptation abilities that allowed them to reverse engineer our technology and improve upon it within days. Recommend immediate reclassification of humanity as a Class A civilization with full military capability. Any future contact should be approached through diplomatic channels rather than military conquest. The message would spread throughout the galaxy within weeks, carried by Zephyrian communication networks to every corner of the Empire and beyond. Other species would learn that Earth was defended by a people who combined technological innovation with tactical brilliance and moral restraint, Captain. Marshall's ship Guardian followed the Zephyrian fleet through hyperspace, humanity's first vessel to travel faster than light. In the cargo bay, human diplomats carried gifts and messages of friendship for species they had never met. In the weapon bays, hybrid systems stood ready to defend human interests if diplomacy failed. 6 months later, the Galactic Council. 3 days later, the alien fleet entered New Eden's solar system. Commander Vexathara stood on the bridge of his flagship studying the planet below. His scaled skin gleamed under the bridge lights, and his 4 arms moved with practiced efficiency as he reviewed the intelligence reports. "A farming world," he said to his second-in-command. 50,000 humans growing grain, no military installations, no defensive satellites. This will be over quickly. The Zephyrian Empire had been expanding for centuries. They conquered worlds with superior technology and overwhelming force. Humans were newcomers to this part of space, and their colonies were easy targets. Vexathara had destroyed 12 human settlements in the past year. This one would be no different. On New Eden's surface, Jake Morrison watched the alien ships through his hidden sensors. The fleet was massive, battleships the size of city blocks, smaller attack craft swarming around them like angry insects, troop transports ready to land soldiers on the surface. Count is confirmed at 68 ships, Kate Williams reported, over the secure channel. They are taking position for orbital bombardment, Jake nodded. The plan had always assumed they would face overwhelming odds. That was why they had spent 5 years preparing surprises. "All units begin Phase 1, Jake transmitted. "Time to show our visitors what New Eden really grows." Across the planet, seemingly innocent farm buildings began to change. Grain silos that had stored wheat for years split open along hidden seams. Inside, missile batteries rose into position. The silos had been built with reinforced walls and hidden power systems. What looked like simple storage buildings were actually launch platforms. Lisa Parker stood in what appeared to be a tractor repair facility. She pressed a series of buttons hidden under the workbench. The building's walls folded back, revealing rows of surface-to-air missiles. The repair shop had been designed to transform into a weapons platform at the touch of a button. "Missile Battery 7 is online," Lisa reported. "Targeting systems are active." Similar transformations were happening across New Eden. Barns opened to reveal radar dishes. Farm equipment sheds became command centers. Water towers extended sensor arrays. The peaceful farming colony was shedding its disguise. Sam Rodriguez worked frantically in his repair shop. The machines he had been modifying for 5 years were finally ready for their true purpose. Tractors that could fire plasma rounds, combines that could launch missiles, plows that could deploy energy shields. He climbed into the driver's seat of a large harvester. To most people, it looked like normal farm equipment. Sam knew it was actually a mobile weapons platform with enough firepower to destroy a small army. "Mobile Unit 12 ready for deployment," he reported. The transformation was not just mechanical. The people of New Eden were changing too. Farmers who had spent their mornings tending crops now checked weapons and reviewed tactical plans. Engineers, who had designed irrigation systems, activated hidden defensive networks. Mechanics who had repaired tractors began powering up military hardware. Commander Vexathara noticed the changes from orbit. "Sir, we are detecting unusual energy readings from the surface," his scanner operator reported. Multiple power sources coming online. Vexthara frowned. The intelligence reports had mentioned no significant technology on the farming world. Scan again. Perhaps their agricultural equipment uses more power than we expected. The scanner operator worked at his controls. Sir, the readings are not consistent with farming equipment. These signatures match military-grade systems. Vexthara's confidence wavered for the first time. Something was wrong. On the surface, Jake Morrison was coordinating the defense from his hidden command center. Screens showed the status of every system across the planet. Green lights indicated that weapons were charged and ready. Communication networks were active. Defensive positions were manned. Phase 1 complete, he announced. All units report. Ready status. Kate Williams had been monitoring alien communications since their arrival. The Zephyrians used standard Imperial frequencies, and she had been studying their language for years. They are getting nervous, she reported. Their sensors are picking up our energy signatures. The commander is questioning his intelligence reports. Jake smiled grimly. The Zephyrians had received accurate intelligence about New Eden. 50,000 humans did live here. They did grow grain. The planet was an agricultural colony. The intelligence was just incomplete. Let them get a little more nervous, Jake said. Begin Phase 2. Across New Eden, the hidden weapon systems came fully online. Missile batteries that had been disguised as grain silos now locked onto targets in orbit. Each silo contained enough firepower to cripple a battleship. There were 47 silos scattered across the planet. Mobile weapons platforms that looked like farm equipment began moving into position. Tractors with hidden cannons, combines with missile launchers, plows that could project energy barriers. Sam Rodriguez had spent 5 years building an army that looked like a farming fleet. Underground networks that had been designed to carry water for irrigation were now carrying something else. Power conduits connected every major installation. Communication lines linked every defensive position. Transport tunnels allowed rapid movement of personnel and equipment. Lisa Parker was checking the most important system of all. The grain that New Eden grew was not ordinary wheat and corn. It had been genetically modified to produce biofuel when burned. This fuel was stored in hidden tanks throughout the colony. The biofuel network could power their weapons for days. It could also be used for something more dramatic. Fuel systems are ready, Lisa reported. All storage tanks are at full capacity. Commander Vexthara was growing more concerned by the minute. Sir, we are detecting massive underground networks, his scanner operator reported. The energy readings are off the charts. This is not a simple farming colony. Vexthara studied the sensor data. What he saw made no sense. The planet below was supposed to be defenseless. Instead, his sensors showed a complex network of military installations hidden beneath innocent-looking farms. How could our intelligence be so wrong? He demanded. His second-in-command checked the reports again. Sir, all information was verified through multiple sources. This is definitely the farming colony designated as New Eden. Population 50,000. Primary export is agricultural products. Then explain these readings. Before anyone could answer, Jake Morrison sent a message to the alien fleet. Attention Zephyrian vessels. This is New Eden Colony Administration. You are approaching human territory without authorization. Please state your intentions. The message was broadcast on standard diplomatic frequencies. Jake's voice was calm and professional, like he was talking to a cargo ship requesting permission to land. Vexthara responded immediately. Human colony, this is Commander Vexthara of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. We are here to claim this world for the Empire. Surrender immediately, and you will not be harmed. Jake's response came back just as calmly. I'm sorry, Commander, but we cannot comply with that request. New Eden is a legally established human colony under the protection of Earth's colonial charter. We must ask you to leave our system. Vexthara laughed. The human was talking like he had a choice in the matter. You have 1 hour to evacuate the planet, Vexthara transmitted. After that, we will commence bombardment. Do not test our resolve. Jake Morrison turned off the communication system and looked around his command center. Former soldiers, engineers, and intelligence officers stared back at him. They had all volunteered for this mission. They had all known this day might come. "Well, people, it looks like harvest time has arrived," Jake said. "Let's show our visitors what New Eden has been growing all these years." The colonists began their final preparations. Hidden weapons were armed, defensive positions were manned. Mobile units moved into attack formations. The Zephyrian fleet prepared for what they thought would be an easy conquest. They had overwhelming numbers and superior technology. The human farming colony below had no chance against them. Commander Vexithara was wrong about that. He was about to learn that humans could grow more than grain in their soil. They could grow soldiers, weapons, and determination. They could grow surprises that would turn a simple farming colony into a fortress. The hour was almost up. Soon, the harvest would begin. The hour was up. Commander Vexithara gave the order his crew had been waiting for. "Begin orbital bombardment. Target the largest settlements first." Energy beams lanced down from the Zephyrian battleships toward New Eden's surface. The beams were designed to destroy buildings and kill anyone hiding inside. They had worked on dozens of other human colonies. They did not work on New Eden. The energy beams struck invisible barriers above the settlements and scattered harmlessly. Shield generators hidden in grain silos had been waiting for this moment. The same systems that stored wheat had been protecting defensive networks for 5 years. "Sir, our bombardment is having no effect," the weapons officer reported. "The humans have planetary shields." Vexithara stared at his screens in disbelief. "That is impossible. Our intelligence showed no shield technology." On the surface, Jake Morrison smiled as he watched the alien bombardment fail. "Phase 3, people. Time to return fire." Across New Eden, grain silos opened like deadly flowers. Surface-to-air missiles roared into the sky. These were not ordinary farming colony weapons. They were military-grade systems with targeting computers that could track moving ships in orbit. Each missile carried enough explosive power to cripple a battleship. Lisa Parker watched from her hidden command center as her missile battery fired its first salvo. 6 missiles streaked upward, their exhaust trails cutting through the atmosphere. Like blazing swords, Battery 7 firing. 6 birds in the air. The missiles struck a Zephyrian destroyer. The ship's shields absorbed the first 2 impacts, but the third missile punched through. Explosions rippled along the destroyer's hull. As its power systems failed, Commander Vexithara watched his ship die in seconds. "How do farmers have military-grade missiles?" More missiles followed. Every grain silo on New Eden was firing now. 47 hidden weapons platforms were sending death into orbit. The Zephyrian fleet scattered as ships exploded around them. "All ships, evasive action," Vexithara ordered. "Deploy assault troops immediately. We must take the surface before they can fire again." Troop transports launched from the main fleet. Hundreds of dropships streaked toward New Eden's surface, carrying thousands of Zephyrian soldiers. Their orders were simple: land fast, kill everything, and silence those missile batteries. The dropships had energy shields and thick armor. They had survived attacks on other human colonies. They were designed to protect soldiers during planetary assault. They were not designed to handle what Sam Rodriguez had been building for 5 years. As the first dropships entered the atmosphere, Sam Rodriguez climbed into his modified harvester. The machine looked like normal farm equipment, but hidden weapon systems came online as he started the engine. "Mobile Unit 12 engaging targets," Sam reported. His harvester fired its first shot. A plasma cannon disguised as a grain elevator opened up at the approaching dropships. The beam was powerful enough to cut through a battleship's armor. It sliced through a dropship like it was made of paper. The transport exploded in a ball of fire. Debris rained down on the wheat fields below. Sam was not alone. Across New Eden, farming equipment was revealing its true nature. Tractors with hidden missile launchers fired at the incoming ships. Combines with energy weapons cut through. Dropship formations. Plows with shield generators protected human positions from alien return fire. The Zephyrian soldiers in the surviving dropships watched their escorts die around them. What they had thought was a defenseless farming world was fighting back with coordinated military precision. "Command, this is Assault Group Leader," one pilot transmitted. "We are taking heavy casualties. The farmers have military weapons." Commander Vexithara was beyond confusion now. He was angry. "They are just humans. Farmers. How are they doing this?" The answer came from Kate Williams. She had been listening to Zephyrian communications since their arrival. Their language was not difficult to understand once you knew the patterns. Kate had been studying alien languages for 15 years before she came to New Eden. Now she began broadcasting on Zephyrian frequencies. "Attention Zephyrian forces," she said in perfect Imperial dialect. "You are attacking a human military installation. Surrender now and you will be treated according to galactic law." The message went out on every frequency the aliens were using. Kate had spent years learning how to jam and hijack enemy communications. Now she was using those skills to sow confusion in the alien ranks. "Who is that?" Vexithara demanded. "How does a human farmer speak our language?" Kate's response came back immediately. "We know everything about you, Commander Vexithara. Your fleet composition, your tactical preferences, your personal history. We have been preparing for your arrival." This was not entirely true, but Kate had studied Zephyrian military records for years. She knew enough about their empire to sound convincing. More dropships were burning in the atmosphere. Sam Rodriguez and his mobile units were cutting through the assault force like farmers harvesting grain. The comparison was not lost on him. 60% of assault craft destroyed, Kate reported. Remaining ships are attempting emergency landings. The surviving Zephyrian soldiers crashed in fields and forests across New Eden. They expected to face panicked farmers running for shelter. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by former military personnel who had been preparing for exactly this situation. Jake Morrison coordinated the ground response from his command center. "All units, move to intercept. Remember, we want some prisoners for intelligence gathering." The ground battle was over before it really began. Zephyrian soldiers trained in standard Imperial tactics found themselves fighting enemies who knew every trick in their manual. Human colonists who had spent decades in military service used terrain they had been studying for 5 years. The aliens were outnumbered, outgunned, and completely outmaneuvered. Lisa Parker led a team of former engineers who had turned irrigation equipment into weapon systems. Water pumps became grenade launchers. Sprinkler systems became chemical dispersal networks. Even the farm roads had been designed to channel enemy forces into killing zones. "Sector 7 secured," Lisa reported. 12 prisoners taken. No human casualties. Similar reports came in from across the planet. The Zephyrian assault force was being systematically destroyed or captured. Soldiers who had conquered dozens of worlds found themselves helpless against farmers who fought like professional military units, because that was exactly what they were. Commander Vexithara watched his assault fail from orbit. Half his fleet was destroyed or crippled. His ground forces were being eliminated with surgical precision. The farming colony that should have surrendered in minutes was destroying his entire attack force. "Sir, we need to retreat," his second-in-command urged. "We are outmatched." Vexithara refused to accept what he was seeing. "Deploy the reserve fleet. Bring in everything we have. I will not be defeated by farmers." On New Eden's surface, Jake E. Morrison received reports of more ships approaching. The Zephyrians were committing their entire force to this battle. "They are bringing reinforcements," Kate warned. "Another 40 ships jumping in system." Jake nodded. The plan had always assumed the aliens would escalate. That was why New Eden had one more surprise waiting. "Time for Phase 4, he announced. Lisa, begin fuel network activation. Lisa Parker smiled as she activated the biofuel system. For 5 years, the colonists had been growing crops that could be converted into high-energy fuel. They had been storing this fuel in hidden tanks throughout the colony. Now it was time to use it. Underground conduits filled with liquid fire. The biofuel flowed through networks that connected every major installation on the planet. Power levels across New Eden jumped to maximum as the hidden energy grid came fully online. Shield generators strengthened their barriers. Weapons systems increased their firing rates. Communication networks boosted their signal strength. The entire planet became a fortress powered by the crops its people had grown. All systems at maximum power, Lisa reported. Fuel reserves at 90%. We can maintain this level for 72 hours. Jake Morrison looked at his tactical display. More alien ships were entering the system, but his people were ready for them. New Eden had revealed only part of its true capabilities. The harvest was just beginning. The Zephyrian reinforcement fleet jumped into the system like angry hornets. 40 new warships appeared in space around New Eden, their weapons already charging for battle. Commander Vexathera felt a surge of confidence as his reinforcements arrived. Now we will show these farmers what happens when they resist the Empire. On New Eden's surface, alarms were ringing in every hidden command center. Kate Williams tracked the new arrivals on her screens while coordinating defensive responses. 80. Ships total now in system, she reported. They are moving into bombardment formation. Jake Morrison studied the tactical display from his underground command center. The aliens had brought enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Against any normal colony, this would be overwhelming force. New Eden was not a normal colony. Begin. Phase 5, Jake ordered. Time to show them our final surprise. Across the planet, what looked like simple farm buildings began their most dramatic transformation yet. Grain storage facilities that had been modified into missile silos were about to reveal their true nature. Each silo had been built with multiple levels. The surface level held farming equipment and actual grain. The middle level contained conventional missiles and defensive systems. The bottom level held something much more dangerous. Lisa Parker descended into the deepest level of her facility. Here, surrounded by reinforced walls and radiation shielding, sat a device that looked nothing like farming equipment. It was a planetary defense cannon. The weapon had been built in sections and assembled secretly over 5 years. Its power core was connected to the biofuel network that ran beneath the entire colony. When fully charged, it could punch through the armor of a battleship from orbit. Cannon 7 ready for firing, Lisa reported. Power core at maximum charge. Similar reports came in from installations across New Eden. What the aliens thought were grain silos were actually weapon platforms that could engage capital ships in orbit. Commander, Vexathera was reviewing his attack plan when his sensors detected massive energy buildups on the planet's surface. Sir, we are reading power signatures that match heavy naval weapons, his scanner operator reported. Multiple installations showing charge patterns consistent with orbital defense cannons. Vexathera laughed. Impossible. Our intelligence shows no military manufacturing on that world. They grow grain, not weapons. Sir, the readings are unmistakable. Those installations are preparing to fire. Before Vexathera could respond, the grain silos of New Eden opened their deepest secrets. Energy beams lanced upward from the planet's surface. These were not the missiles that had surprised the first wave of attackers. These were weapons designed to kill battleships. The first beams struck Vexathera's flagship. The ship's shields held for exactly 3 seconds before the continuous energy stream burned through them. The beam carved into the hull like a sword through paper. Shields down, his weapons officer shouted. Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. More beams joined the first. 47 hidden cannons were firing now, each one targeting a different ship in the Zephyrian fleet. space filled with deadly light as the farmers of New Eden showed their true firepower. Sam Rodriguez watched from his mobile command unit as alien ships burned in orbit. His own weapons were smaller than the main cannons, but his modified farm equipment was still contributing to the battle. "Mobile units engaging dropships," he reported. "They are trying to land more troops." The Zephyrians were indeed attempting another ground assault. Troop transports launched from the surviving ships, racing toward New Eden's surface while their escorts tried to provide cover. Sam's harvester opened fire with concealed plasma weapons. Other mobile units joined the defense. Tractors became tanks. Combines became mobile artillery. The peaceful farming equipment of New Eden transformed into a mechanized army. The second wave of dropships died just as quickly as the first. Commander Vexathera was losing ships faster than he could count. His massive fleet was being systematically destroyed by weapons that should not exist. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "Where did farmers get military-grade orbital cannons?" Kate Williams had an answer for him. She broadcast on all Zephyrian frequencies, her voice calm and professional. "Commander Vexathera, this is New Eden Defense Command. You are attacking a joint military and agricultural research facility. Every person on this planet is a volunteer with extensive military experience. We have been preparing for this battle for 5 years." The truth was finally coming out. New Eden was established as a test of distributed defense systems, Kate continued. "We wanted to see if a colony could defend itself using disguised military assets and dual-purpose infrastructure. Thank you for providing such an excellent test scenario." Vexathera realized he had been tricked. The intelligence his empire had received was technically accurate but deliberately incomplete. New Eden was a farming colony with 50,000 residents who grew grain for export. It was also a military base designed to look like a farming colony. "You planned this," he transmitted back. "You wanted us to attack." Jake Morrison answered personally this time. "We knew someone would eventually try to take our outer colonies. We needed to test our defensive concepts under real combat conditions. Your empire provided the perfect opportunity." The battle was entering its final phase. Half the Zephyrian fleet was destroyed or crippled. The remaining ships were pulling back, trying to escape the range of New Eden's weapons. But the planet had one more surprise. Lisa Parker activated the final system that had been hidden beneath New Eden's surface. Deep underground, connected to every major installation by the biofuel network, was a planetary shield generator. Not the small defensive shields that had protected individual settlements. This was a barrier that could surround the entire planet. The shield came online with a sound like thunder. Energy filled the space around New Eden, creating an invisible wall that trapped the surviving Zephyrian ships inside the planet's defensive perimeter. "Planetary containment field active," Lisa reported. "No ships can jump to hyperspace or leave the system." Commander Vexathera watched his escape routes disappear. His remaining ships were trapped with a planet that had just proven it could destroy his entire fleet. "Sir, we are completely surrounded," his navigator reported. "The energy field is preventing hyperspace jump." The Zephyrian commander finally understood what had happened. His empire had not discovered a weak farming colony. They had stumbled into a trap that had been years in the making. Sam Rodriguez led his mobile units in the final assault on the grounded alien forces. The few Zephyrian soldiers who had survived the dropship attacks were now completely cut off from support. "Ground forces eliminated," Sam reported. "All enemy personnel captured or neutralized." Kate Williams coordinated the space battle as New Eden's cannons finished destroying the trapped fleet. Ship after ship exploded or surrendered as the farmers showed their true capabilities. "Orbital defense complete," she announced. "Remaining hostile vessels are requesting permission to surrender." Jake Morrison looked around his command center at the people who had made this victory possible. Former soldiers who had become farmers. engineers who had disguised weapons as agricultural equipment, intelligence officers who had spent years preparing for this exact scenario. "Battle complete," he announced. "New Eden defense successful. Time elapsed. 9 minutes and 37 seconds. The Zephyrian fleet that had come to conquer a defenseless farming colony was completely destroyed. Commander Vexathera sat in his damaged flagship, surrounded by the wreckage of his invasion force. He had learned a hard lesson about underestimating humans. The species that could turn farmers into soldiers and grain silos into weapons was far more dangerous than anyone in the galaxy realized. The harvest was over. New Eden had proven that humans could defend their colonies with determination, preparation, and the element of surprise. The galaxy would never look at human farming colonies the same way again. 3 hours after the battle ended, Jake Morrison stood in the command center of the captured Zephyrian flagship. Commander Vexathera sat across from him, his forearms restrained and his scaled face showing confusion and defeat. "I need to understand," Vexathera said. "Our intelligence was perfect. New Eden is a farming colony. You do grow grain. You do have 50,000 civilians. How did farmers destroy my entire fleet?" Jake pulled up a chair and sat down. After 5 years of pretending to be a simple colony administrator, he could finally tell the truth. "You are right about the farming," Jake said. "We do grow grain, some of the best in human space. But you made one mistake in your intelligence gathering." "What? Mistake?" "You assumed farmers could not be soldiers." Jake activated a holographic display that showed New Eden's true structure. The planet looked the same from orbit, but the display revealed hidden networks that ran beneath every settlement. New Eden was designed as a test, Jake explained. Human. Command wanted to know if we could defend our outer colonies without obvious military bases. So they built a farming colony that was also a fortress. Vexathera studied the display. Underground tunnels connected every major settlement. Power networks linked hidden weapons. Communication systems tied everything together. Every person who came to New Eden volunteered for this mission, Jake continued. "We are all retired military personnel, soldiers who wanted peaceful lives but were willing to fight again if needed." "But you really do farm?" Vexathera protested. "Of course we do. The farming is not a cover story. It is real. We grow food that feeds 12 colonies. We take pride in our crops. Most days I actually feel like a farmer." Jake smiled. "But we also spent 5 years preparing for visitors like you." The holographic display showed how ordinary farm equipment had been modified. Tractors with hidden weapons, combines with missile launchers, grain silos that concealed orbital cannons. "Lisa, Parker is our best agricultural engineer," Jake said. "She designed irrigation systems that increased crop yields by 30%. She also designed the biofuel network that powered our weapons." Vexathera was beginning to understand. "The fuel came from your crops. Genetically modified plants that produce high-energy biofuel when processed. We have been growing our own ammunition for 5 years." The alien commander looked at the tactical readout of the battle. His fleet had been destroyed in less than 10 minutes by enemies he had never seen coming. "Sam Rodriguez runs our equipment maintenance," Jake continued. "He keeps our farming machinery in perfect condition. He also spent 5 years installing military hardware inside every vehicle on the planet." "And the communications officer who spoke our language?" "Kate Williams. She studied alien languages and communication systems for 15 years before coming here. She monitors radio traffic from passing ships while coordinating our grain shipments." Vexathera slumped in his chair. "You were ready for us." "We were ready for someone," Jake corrected. "We knew the outer colonies would eventually face attack. New Eden was built to test whether human settlements could defend themselves without obvious military presence." Jake stood and walked to the viewport. New Eden hung in space below them, looking peaceful and innocent. Grain fields stretched to the horizon. Small settlements dotted the landscape. It looked exactly like what it was supposed to be. The test was successful, Jake said. We proved that human colonies can defend themselves if they prepare properly. What happens now? Vexithara asked. Jake turned back to the alien commander. That depends on you. We have captured most of your surviving crew. Your ships are either destroyed or disabled. You are completely at our mercy. Will you execute us? No. We will treat you according to galactic law. You will be held as prisoners of war until this conflict is resolved. Vexithara was surprised. You would show mercy to enemies who came to destroy your world? We are farmers, Jake said simply. We grow things. We preserve life. We only fight when we have no choice. Over the next several days, New Eden began returning to normal. Hadachos. Weapon systems were deactivated and concealed. Military equipment was disguised as farming machinery again. The planet resumed its peaceful appearance. But word of the battle was already spreading. Kate Williams sent encrypted reports to Human Command. The test of distributed defense systems had exceeded all expectations. A single farming colony had destroyed an entire alien invasion fleet in 9 minutes. Other colonies began requesting similar defensive systems. Agricultural settlements throughout human space wanted to know how they could protect themselves without abandoning their primary missions. Lisa Parker led the effort to document their defensive systems. Her reports would help other colonies design their own hidden fortifications. The biofuel network would be replicated on dozens of worlds. Sam Rodriguez became famous among colonial engineers. His techniques for disguising military hardware as farming equipment were studied and improved. Tractors with hidden weapons became standard equipment on frontier worlds. The Zephyrian Empire faced a crisis. News of their defeat at New Eden spread throughout their territory. If humans could turn a simple farming colony into an impregnable fortress, what other surprises were waiting? Commander Vexithara spent his captivity writing reports for his superiors. He tried to explain how 50,000 farmers had destroyed 68 warships. His reports were difficult to believe. They look like farmers, he wrote. They act like farmers. They really do grow grain. But when attacked, they become soldiers with weapons we never saw coming. The Zephyrian High Command ordered a halt to attacks on human colonies. If farming settlements could defend themselves so effectively, what would happen if they attacked an actual military base? 6 months after the battle, Jake Morrison received new orders from Human Command. New Eden was being designated as a permanent defensive installation. The farming would continue, but the planet would also serve as a training center for other agricultural colonies. The success of the New Eden model led to the creation of the Farm Guard program. Colonies throughout human space began implementing similar systems. Hidden weapons became standard features of grain silos. Agricultural equipment was designed with dual purposes from the beginning. Lisa Parker was promoted to chief engineer for the Farm Guard program. She traveled between colonies, helping them design their own defensive networks while maintaining their agricultural operations. Sam Rodriguez opened a training facility on New Eden. Engineers from across human space came to learn his techniques for military modification of civilian equipment. His workshops became legendary among colonial defense specialists. Kate Williams coordinated intelligence gathering for the expanded program. Her network of communications officers kept track of alien activities throughout the sector. No hostile fleet would achieve surprise again. 1 year after the battle, Jake Morrison stood in the same wheat field where he had drunk coffee that first morning. The grain was ready for harvest, just like it had been every year since the colony was founded. But now he knew that other colonies across human space were growing more than food. They were growing determination. They were growing preparedness. They were growing the ability to defend themselves against any threat. Commander Vexithara had been right about one thing. New Eden was a farming colony. It did grow grain that fed other worlds. 50,000 people did live quiet, peaceful lives tending their crops. But he had learned that humans could be farmers and soldiers at the same time. They could grow food and weapons with equal skill. They could appear defenseless while hiding enough firepower to destroy a fleet. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. It would not make that mistake again. Jake Morrison finished his coffee and walked back to his house. He had reports to write and defensive systems to check. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and new preparations. But tonight, he was just a farmer on a peaceful world, watching the sun set over fields of golden grain. The harvest season on New Eden would continue. But now the galaxy knew that humans could harvest more than grain when the need arose. They could harvest victory from the soil of determination and the seeds of preparation. The Farm Guard program ensured that every human colony would be ready when the next harvest season arrived.